Hey folks, I'm just headed to CrossFit here on Friday morning. I'm going to go to the comments for a question. I think it's a good one. It's relevant for me, I guess, and folks that are reading the news and all sorts of stuff, and we'll talk about that. So this is from the comments. I just wanted to get the person's name before I actually got onto the road here, so let me do that and then switch my map over. This is from Anthony Sim 563, and essentially they were asking for some of my perspective on the pip and stack ranking culture that's at Microsoft, because they've been reading a lot about it and the upcoming changes in the news. So I figured we'd talk about that. So thank you, Anthony, for submitting this. Before I get into my answer on it, just a reminder for folks, if you want questions answered on software engineering or career topics, just add them below in the comments of the video, or you can send them into DevLeader on social media. That's my main YouTube channel as well. Has more edited down, polished videos, tutorials for programming, resume reviews, and a podcast on top of all that. All sorts of things for software engineers, and a live stream every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific. So if you like Code Commute, which is what you're watching right now, if you enjoy it and you like the topics, then check out the live stream on DevLeader Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific, because it's the same type of thing, but I use the chat and we go back and forth and have people can have questions there. I'll engage the audience and stuff. So it's the difference is that I don't have a chat pulled up and stream this live while I'm driving. That would be pretty ridiculous. Okay, so the first thing I want to address is when we see this kind of thing happen in the news and stuff, almost always there's some level of either misunderstanding, misrepresentation, whatever else, right? To be 100% transparent, I have been at Microsoft for just under 5 years now. There has never been stack ranking involved in anything I do at all. I don't know if there was stack ranking once upon a time at Microsoft. It's been around for 50 years. I am sure it's a fair statement to say at some point there has been stack ranking. I'm sure that's a fair statement. I don't even know if it's true, but what I can tell you with certainty is that for 5 years or just under now, I have never been asked to stack rank anyone. I've never been in people conversations within my organization where there was stack ranking involved. So not a thing. It's not been communicated to me in terms of an upcoming change. But if I read between the lines on what's being communicated in terms of the news and the press and stuff, I think I know where this is coming from. But I wanted to kind of talk about this a little bit before getting into some of the details, because this is the kind of thing that's super dangerous. And so I'm not I hope Anthony, the person that asked this question, pardon me, had a burp hiccup kind of thing. I hope they understand I'm not directing this at them. I do think it's a really good question, but I think it's a good example of how we can see a bunch of stuff get perpetuated and posted in the news, and then because it's being discussed in the news, different news outlets posting it, it starts to make it look like it's a fact because different sources are talking about it. But what we need to realize is all of these news outlets, whatever is publishing this stuff, it doesn't matter if the information's actually accurate. Which sounds kind of weird, right? It doesn't actually matter. What actually matters is that they're a business and they make probably a majority of their money from ad revenue online. And how do they get ad revenue? They need to get you to click. And they get you to click when they have titles and topics that are oh, that sounds pretty messed up, or that sounds scary, or that sounds intriguing, or, some emotion is evoked in you, right? They want your curiosity. I've talked about this in other videos I've made, and it's literally the same way that like YouTube videos work, right? I don't do it on either of my channels really. Like, you need a good thumbnail that's gonna, like, that's why you see all the stupid faces where people are like, oh, and it's like the most amazed, like, surprised face, and then the video's like, how to write a for loop in C#, and it's someone like freaking out, like, I can't believe this is happening. And it's like, it's dumb, but people click that stuff. That's it. People do it because it works. The same thing with the titles, right? They essentially need to be like clickbait. Essentially, they're as close to clickbait as possible, but the difference is that you need to be able to deliver on that title somewhere in the video. Otherwise, then people just realize, okay, you clickbait, and then it starts to like erode the trust. But if it's clickbait, close enough to clickbait where people are like, oh shit, I wonder what that's all about. And then they go, oh, I see what they were getting at. Like, I'm already here, I'll watch it. But the point is that news outlets or whoever's publishing articles and stuff on these topics, even creators, right, just to get the engagement on their posts, it doesn't matter if the information is accurate, because they're getting what they need out of it. If they're like, oh, it comes out that's not the right information, they can backpedal and be like, oh, well, this site said it, or that was from the source I had, and like, sorry, like, no harm, no foul. We just keep moving on. But what's happening is that it's painting the incorrect picture, right? So if there's stuff out there right now, if there's articles saying like Microsoft is now doing stack ranking, it's kind of like what I don't know, I've never worked at Amazon, but I have heard at Amazon, it's like they call the bottom X% of employees every, round of performance reviews. So to do that, you would literally need to stack rank. Like, it's not been communicated, and it has not been the case for me for just under 5 years. Like, I'm just telling you my lived reality, right? But I think another example of this is like when we see, especially with things like AI news, and you'll have either executives or someone who's, the face of a company in some capacity, they might make a statement, like some are outright saying like AI is absolutely replacing coders in like 2 months, like see you later. But some are like, and I did this for Mark Zuckerberg's Joe Rogan interview. I did like 3 videos on this channel about that topic, and when I watched that interview, I did not get the impression that Mark Zuckerberg said, we're building AI to replace software engineers. Like, I actually interpreted what he was saying was to help enhance what software engineers can do. Later in the interview, he's like, is that going to potentially result in some job changes, job loss? He's like, sure, potentially, but like the intention is not, like in his interview, that he's saying the intention is not, we're going to go make AI so that we can fire all the engineers. And some of the statements that he makes that I think people misinterpret, at least from my perspective, is that he's making a claim that in X number of months, the code that AI writes will be at the level of, X engineer, and that there, what was the other, like, I don't know if it's a stat, but he was saying like most code in code bases will be written by AI. Like, if you think about that statement, that sounds like therefore there must be little to no real programmers and just AI. But I think what that actually means is that a disproportionate amount of code, like more code, is being created by AI. That could be a factual statement if you kept the exact same number of software engineers and you just use enough AI agents to go write more volume of code. That statement could still be factual, but instead what people do is go, nope, that's what he said. He said they're firing everyone. We don't need any software engineers. It's the end of the world. And then that gets perpetuated, and then other people keep posting it, and here we are. So I think that this stuff just is too easy to get misrepresented. So I think it's really good when someone's able to ask about this kind of stuff. Now, what I'm not able to do is I can't like verbatim share like any internal conversations about how performance reviews and stuff are done like that. But I am telling you that it's not stack ranking. Or if it is stack ranking, it is yet to be, messaged to us just for what it's worth. It's just not a topic that's come up. Okay, I want to talk about PIPs as well. If you're not sure what a PIP is, a PIP, it's a performance improvement plan. Generally, I'm not sure if this applies to other industries as well, probably, but in software engineering, when people hear PIP, what they automatically assume, oh, buddy. I gotta pass this guy. There's a guy in the carpooling lane who is just like veering into my lane. I gave him a little toot and he moved back, but watching it in slow motion, like, please open your eyes. I know it's early. Performance improvement plans. When people hear this, the automatic assumption is that if someone is on a performance improvement plan, therefore they must be getting exited from the company. It's a deceiving way to try and fire an employee, and all that you're doing is documenting firing them, but the goal is to fire the employee. And like the problem with this statement is like that might be statistically how people use that in industry. Statistically, that might be the case. I literally don't have data to prove that. I actually assume that that's the case because how else would people arrive at that conclusion if it wasn't statistically more likely? But happy if someone has data on that, happy to hear about it. But I have literally used performance improvement plans in my career. I've been an engineering manager for just under 13 years. It's like 12 years and I don't know, like 10 months kind of thing. I have literally used performance improvement plans and helped turn people's performance around. Because the goal of the tooling is to be able to document so that people can make progress. That's the goal of it. Now, you might argue that no, the goal is to document to exit someone, and it's just masquerading as something else. And that's why I'm sitting here going, I can't tell you how every manager is using the tools at their disposal. So for the person, for Anthony that was asking this question, right, PIP culture at Microsoft and stuff, again, I've not heard, there's not we're introducing a PIP now that is specifically designed just to go fire people or something like that. If they're since I've been at Microsoft as a manager, if there are people that are underperforming, right? So we have what's called a Connect at Microsoft. In my organization, we do Connects twice a year. They're basically a mandatory level setting conversation between you and your manager. Generally, the employee writes their Connect in a way that's almost like a resume, right? Here's all the awesome stuff I'm doing, the impact I'm delivering, your accomplishments, and here's some things I'm focused on improving, and here's what's coming up for me. I think it's a really cool tool. I realize that people don't like writing this kind of stuff because they feel like it's paperwork, but it's a really good way to document your accomplishments. It's helpful for me. If you're transitioning managers, it's helpful because now you have a literal written record that you and your previous manager have agreed on. So that's awesome. But on a Connect, you can have a manager can indicate to an employee that they're not meeting expectations. Okay, so this has been a thing as long as I've been at Microsoft. So, for roughly 5 years, and I'm sure before. So if someone's not meeting expectations, well, what do you do? Well, you have to go navigate that as a manager. So, you would probably, I think if you're a good manager, you would be trying to do something like a PIP. And probably someone's freaking out hearing that, going like, oh, what, you mean you're going to try to just fire them because they're not performing well? Like, no, literally try to come up with the plan to improve their performance. Have the conversation with them. Talk about what things need to be improved. Come up with some type of plan and work with them to improve it. Because the nice thing is, roughly 6 months from that point in time, there's also going to be another Connect. It's another good checkpoint. So if people are improving, it's another awesome spot to be able to document and say, hey, look, this person was not meeting expectations. Look at all the awesome stuff they were doing to turn that around. Boom, we can document it. Awesome, move forward, right? And if they're not, then they will also have on their next Connect that they're not doing well. Now, the only this is why I was saying, I think I know where this is coming from. The only communication that I've had at all regarding any of this has just been a reminder that, if you have people that are, continuously not meeting expectations, basically, as managers, you need to be looking into that more carefully. Because if you have, for, a full year, that someone is basically, completely missing the mark, they're like, are you... you're the manager trying to work with this person on this stuff, what's going on? That's the only communication I've had. And I think that is absolutely fair. I don't think that shouldn't be anything new to anyone. Right? If you had someone that was underperforming for a full year straight, if you were able to say, hey, look, it's just taken that long and they're absolutely turning things around at this point, great. That could be a great success story. Unfortunately, it took so long. But if after a year you're still no, they're missing the mark, and it's okay, well, are you focusing the right amount of attention for helping this person? Are you doing that and they're not turning around? We probably need to have a conversation about that if you have underperforming employees for a sustained period of time. This should not be a Microsoft specific thing. This is just managing employees. So I'm wondering if there was some combination of this information where it's hey, there's been conversations about this, plus layer on any other type of data, whether maybe that's just what else is going on in the industry and someone's misconstrued this a bit. Maybe there's a huge communication I haven't even heard of yet. I can't rule that out, but in terms of anything I've heard, you got it now. So I hope that helps. I think that's a great question. But yeah, I'm just being transparent. See you next time.